Sanje Joda Zoge Jonam La Janjo Bardo Dane Yazuji Dage Jin Soge Be Sonam Yoga Vengi Sanje Jubara Jo Sanje Joda Soge Chon Janjo Bardo Dane Yazuji Dage Jin Soge Be Sonam Yoga Vengi Sanje Jubara Jo Sanje Joda Soge Jonam La Janjo Bardo Dane Yazuji Dage Jinzo Gebe Sonangi, Drola Dengir Sangi, Drubara Sho, Sangi Joda Soge Chonam, Chanjo Bado Dane Gapsuche, Dage Jinso Gebe Sonangi, Drola Dengir Sangi, Drubara Sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, by my accumulations through practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Next page. Oh, sorry. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, by my accumulation of the practice of giving. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, by my accumulation of the practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Eto Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Datagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Niroda Evam Bhati Mahashramana Esvaha Om Ye Dharma Tum Tesham Datagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Niroda Evam Bhati Mahashramana Yesvaha Om Ye Dharma Eto Prabhavam Tum Tesham Datagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Niroda Evam Vati Mahashramana Yesvaha. Okay, let us turn to page 59. Page 59. And this is oftentimes a question coming up when somebody is, let's say that when somebody's about to die, how should we think? How should we think? And particularly when yourself, each one of us, is a matter of time. We have to leave this world one day. When we leave this world, when we die, what should be our thinking? How should we think? So this was a question asked to the Buddha, and the Buddha responded. This is a very standard thing. And then the best thing is the same, whatever to be done, but to do that while we are still alive. Instead of we die and somebody does prayer for you. The effect is so less in comparison with what you think, what you do when you are still alive. So, like for example, let's say when somebody dies, and on behalf of that the person who died, your relatives, they make offerings to the teachers, to the monasteries, please do some prayer for this deceased person. So the same amount, if you offer while you're still alive, that is much, 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 much more effective. Okay, so now the most effective thing to do, what have we done? Let's read what the Buddha taught, how to think. So this is in relation to how the Bodhisattvas, particularly for the Bodhisattvas when they pass, when they are dying, how should they think? And then all of us, we have to emulate, we have to follow this Bodhisattva path. So, okay, these are things that I have to keep in mind. We never know when the death will come. So we should remember these things. And then these things are very advanced, very sophisticated thought processes. So we have to prepare ourselves from now. Okay. And they, of course, this is very comprehensive, extremely sophisticated, very subtle. And in simple terms, what should we do? His Holiness the Dalai Lama always says, always teaches us that if you practice bodhicitta, if you practice wisdom and emptiness, guarantee your next life is going to be very wholesome, is what His Holiness said. So with this kind of guarantee, assurance that we get from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, as simple as that. So we can do that. So, but these things, bodhicitta, wisdom and emptiness, is not something that tomorrow you are dying, your death is just close by, and okay, now I have to meditate emptiness and bodhicitta. No, it not happen like this. These two things require so much of preparation from while you are still alive. You have to prepare for these things. Then at the time of death, there's no fear, there's no regret, there's no fear. We will make sure that next life you will take birth, number one, in a favorable human birth. Then number two, in a family where there is so much encouragement in the study, reflection, meditation on bodhicitta and wisdom and emptiness. And then environment also, where you see that everybody's doing this. And so for you to it becomes so easy for you to flow in this direction. Okay, so let's read this, page 59, the Noble Mahayana Sutra, Wisdom in the Hour of Death. Homage to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Thus did I hear at one time, while the Blessed One was residing in the palace of the king of the gods in the Akanishta realm, he taught the Dharma to the entire assembly. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Agashagarbha, then paid homage to the Blessed One and asked, Blessed One, how should we think about the mind of a Bodhisattva who is about to die? The Blessed One replied, Akashagarbha, when a Bodhisattva is about to die, he should cultivate the wisdom of the hour of death. The wisdom of the hour of death is as follows. All phenomena are naturally pure, so one should cultivate the clear understanding that there are no entities. All phenomena are subsumed within the mind of enlightenment, so one should cultivate the clear understanding of great compassion. All phenomena are naturally luminous, so one should cultivate the clear understanding of non-apprehension. All entities are impermanent, so one should cultivate the clear understanding of non-attachment to anything whatsoever. When one realizes mind, this is wisdom, so one should cultivate the clear understanding of not seeking the Buddha elsewhere. The Buddha, Blessed One, then spoke the following verses. Since all phenomena are natural pure, one should cultivate the clear understanding that there are no entities. Since all phenomena are connected with the enlightened mind, one should cultivate the clear understanding of great compassion. Since all phenomena are naturally luminous, one should cultivate the clear understanding of non-apprehension. Since all entities are impermanent, one should cultivate the clear understanding of non-attachment. Since the mind is the cause for the rising of wisdom, do not look for the Buddha elsewhere. After the Blessed One has spoken, the whole assembly, including the Bodhisattva, Gashagarbha, and others, were overjoyed and full of praise for the Buddha's words. This concludes the Noble Mahayana Sutra, the Wisdom at the Hour of Death. Okay, these are the points that we need to remember. If I'm to quickly share with you in the summary, okay, the Blessed One then spoke the following the verse. All what the Buddha taught above, summarized in the verse form. Since all phenomena are naturally pure meaning objectively non-existent, naturally empty of true existence. Naturally pure, one should cultivate the clear understanding that there are no entities. Objectively, there's no entity. Nothing exists as object real. Since all phenomena are connected with the enlightened mind, one should cultivate the clear understanding of great compassion. Somehow we see that everything's the radiance of one's own mind. One's mind, in the form of great compassion, enlightenment. This great compassion is going to become the enlightened. So we have to, while still alive, We just learn how to expand our mind with great compassion. Since all phenomena are naturally luminous, one should cultivate the clear understanding of non-apprehension. Luminous, naturally luminous, meaning that, let's say, for example, the dream is nothing but the radiance of one's mind, the dream. Likewise, all what we're seeing here, good, bad, and so forth, these are all the description of one's own mind. The, say, for example, say in dark, your mind can see some lights. Have you seen that? In dark, sometimes you see stars and so forth. So these are not external lights. These are the luminosity of one's own mind. So if this is the thing, then the dreams, they're so vivid. You can be in a completely dark room, but you can have a dream. So there's so clear sunlight and so forth. There's no sunlight outside. It's a luminosity of one's own mind. So from this, we can deduce that all what we are seeing now during the waking state, they're all the radiance of one's own mind. Say, for example, some people, they have the color blindness. They don't see the color, whereas we see the color. So these colors, we say colors, they're nothing but the radiance from one's own mind. So that all the luminous, they're so pure. In other words, the example that I gave you last time, say the statue of the Buddha, statue of the demon, if both are made of diamonds, then diamond expert will not throw away the statue of the demon. It's so precious. So likewise, everything is the nature of the luminosity of one's own mind, clear light own mind. So therefore, one should cultivate a clear understanding of non-apprehension, meaning that this is good, this is bad. Just see everything is pervaded by luminosity, one's own mind. Since all entities are impermanent, one should cultivate a clear understanding of non-attachment. And of course, to as close to us at death, it is advised that you let go of anything that you have. Say, for example, like, say, let go of your possessions, your house, your cars, your possessions, whatever. So you just let go of all this. It's advised that once you come to know that, okay, now it is my time to leave. So it's advised that whatever you have, just give away. Give away. For example, offerings to Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, offerings to the temples, or offerings to the charity, all the schools, so wherever there's benefit, you just give away these things. This is advice. No attachment. Attachment is the one which then, make your mind, the negative karma to activate, to take birth in the unfavorable states. So, since all entities are impermanent, one should cultivate a clear understanding of non-attachment. And these we have to know from before, way ahead of time, and then closer to us that, we should be ready to do that. This is so important. Since the mind is the cause, in fact, from this, I'm very impressed. One of my former, the house mothers, Dalai, she was there. She saw her, the first one. She's now, I think, in 80s, late 80s, and or late 80s or 91, 92. Today when I think about her, I'm so impressed. Since she was in her younger days, so I was just 5 years old. She must be in 40s. Yeah. And since those her younger days, I still noticed that she was very pious, religious, always reciting mantras, praying, doing prayers and so forth. My foster home mother, the first one. Then when she was in her, I think, 60s or late 60s, almost hitting 70s, she was giving away everything, all money that he has, offered to His Holiness, to the temples, to the monasteries, just giving away everything, preparing for her death. So in a way, this is a great, they say letting go. Otherwise, for some of us, for some people, hitting 90s, still they cannot let go of anything. Grasping, this is very dangerous. It's not at all, it doesn't do anything good for us. So just see how to let go of things. Let go of things. In fact, if you want to ask me, what do you want to let go of? If you ask me, since my childhood, I've so much of what love, craving for books. Since my childhood, I must be age 5, 6, and of course, my father's so poor, and we were just in school in the a charity school, and nothing really for today school children. The children, they have all these fun games, nothing. And then one day somehow I got a book. English book. I don't. Maybe I have the memory, so it's like this thick, this fat. And the book, I don't know how to read. I did not know how to read. It's English book. What I could still remember is there are some sketches of rats, rats. And it's so close to me. It's so like, it is like the gem for me. I do not know how to read the book. What is written there? I had no clue. I was just age 6 or 7. And then, so this is my treasure. Where do you keep this treasure? Anybody can steal it, right? This is the worry that I have, this little boy has. So what do you do? And the safest place I can think of is my father's place. So I took from school to my father's place during the monthly, the 1-2 day holiday. Go there, I kept it there. And I don't know whether I informed this to my dad that this is my book. And after several months, when I was again visiting my father, I was busy looking for the book, and the poor book disappeared. Maybe it has become a fuel for my father's food. Fuel into food. Right? It disappeared. Okay, from this, today, I got a feeling that looking at how this little boy was so passionate about this book, not knowing how to read. And this tendency was carried till about like 2 years ago. For the last almost 50 years, these tendencies were carried. I was so full of books. And from this, I could guess that maybe past life, I may be a librarian. Librarian who collects all the books and who does not read any book. Not reading any book, just craving, hey, don't touch this book. This book is so, right, you have to keep it back, right? Anybody carries a book, hey, what are you doing? Okay, so letting go, this is so important. Okay, then it says, since the mind is the cause of the arising of wisdom, do not look for the Buddha elsewhere. So the Buddhahood is the seed of perfection. Buddha nature is within us. Buddha nature is within us in the form of your mind. Your mind, it is like a very dirty water, but how dirty water is, the true nature of the water is so clean. Okay, those beginners, how many of you know of the Yamuna River in Delhi? Raise your hands. The younger ones. Okay. How many don't know? How many of you have never seen the Yamuna River? Raise your hands. Okay. If you don't know, I'll tell you what it is. It's extremely clean water. Right? People are laughing, which means it's not true. You're getting it? It's very dirty. Okay. However dirty the water is, if you subject this water to purification processes, such as reverse osmosis and what? Ultrafiltration. If you subject the water to these things like reverse osmosis, ultrafiltration, very clean water comes out. A question to you, this clean water came from where? From Mount Kailash or from the Yamuna River? From the Yamuna River. But in the Yamuna River, nowhere there's a clean water, is dirty water. So what would you say? Which means, however dirty the water is, Yamuna River is, the true nature of the water is very clean. Remove the dirt and the purity, the the purity manifests. You're getting it? So this potential of the pure water inside this dirty water, likewise in our mind, there's such a purity there. Purity. Although we look at it, it's so the short temper, there's anger there, attachment, jealousy, craving, all these things are there. If you just open, if there's a possibility, we should to open the body and see the mind, then we see all these horrible mental states of anger, agitation, and so forth. But if these anger, agitation, all these dirty things are removed, then the mind is luminous, it's so pure. It says, since the mind is the cause for the rising of wisdom, do not look for the Buddha elsewhere. So that when the mental dirt is removed, the purity manifests. That is the Buddhahood. This is, you don't get it from elsewhere. It is right there within you. So, on this mind, so your mind is the source of the wisdom to see the reality, and this will make you to discover this Buddhahood. The great Acharya Nagabodhi, the student of Arya Nagarjuna, said that the Buddhahood is not bestowed upon you by anyone, nor the cause of the Buddhahood is held by anybody else for you. It is only through you discovering the nature of the Buddhahood within you that you become enlightened. This is what it is here. So we have to think about how, say, the anger, attachment, cravings of these fear and so forth, these are the adventitious nature. Sometimes they go away, sometimes they come. It's not that they're always in like the stain, like the inherent stain to the cloth or to the utensils. Sometimes they go, sometimes they come. And when you experience a little bit of emptiness, then you see that with emptiness, all these mental defilements dissolve. When the emptiness experience, fades away, again the mental defilements, they come back. They come, go. They are not really intrinsic nature. So from this you can see that you can remove them. And particularly with the experience of emptiness, we see that afflictions can be removed. With the bodhicitta, this anger, ego, they can be removed. So with this experience, you see what the Buddha taught here. Since the mind is the cause for the arising of wisdom, do not look for the Buddha elsewhere. It is there within you. Okay. Now this morning, we're talking about the 12 recitations of the teachings of the Four Noble Truths. And then we talked about the 3 sets, 12 recitations split into 3 sets. What's the first set? Anyone? Anyone? First set? Related to identification. Second set related to the practices. Third set related to results of the practice that one engages in related to the Four Noble Truths. Good. And can somebody tell us, so what the Buddha taught pertaining to the third set? How did the Buddha teach the third set? How? Anyone? Raise hand. Anyone? Yes.
Although this is the truth of the suffering, it is to be identified. Although this is the truth of the suffering.
Okay, anyone else? So the first impression is the last impression. So how the Srivaniji is reading, with the first 2 lines, I could see that she will not get through. Okay, raise hands. Okay, Nicola.
Truth of suffering is to be identified. There is nothing to be identified.
Wonderful. Roshni, second one.
Although the truth of cause of suffering is to be abandoned, there's nothing to be abandoned.
Good. Ningela.
Even the truth of cessation need to be actualized, there is nothing to be actualized.
Very good. And the Ivan?
Truth of the pathway to cessation of suffering is to be meditated upon. Nothing is to be meditated upon.
Very good. Okay, good. So what we said is that the third set it has to be understood on 2 levels. conventional level, and the ultimate level. A conventional level, how that is to be understood, how that is to be interpreted. We already did it. You remember that? We did it, not did it. We did not do that. We did it. Now, the second part, on the ultimate level, how is this to be understood? Although the truth of suffering is to be, Shivani, although the truth of suffering is to be identified, there's nothing to be identified. Meaning that that on the ultimate level, say, although the truth of suffering is to be identified on the conventional level, but on ultimate level, there's nothing to be identified. You're getting it? Because when the truth of suffering, when you subject the truth of suffering to ultimate analysis, what do you find? Hey, let me say this again. When you subject the truth of suffering to the ultimate analysis, what will you find? Ornella? Perfect, very good. So some say nothing, right? Not nothing, something's found. So, what is in my hand? Don't say nothing, absence of clock is there. You're getting it? So likewise, when the truth of suffering is subjected to ultimate analysis, what do you find? You find the emptiness of objective existence of the truth of suffering. You getting it? When you subject the truth of suffering to ultimate analysis, what do you find? What you find is the emptiness of objective existence of the truth of suffering. Existence of the truth of suffering. Okay, good. So the now when the emptiness, okay, say when the truth of suffering is subject to ultimate analysis, truth of suffering, ultimate analysis, with respect to the truth of suffering appears to the ultimate analysis or not? Okay, let me repeat it. It's not immediate after lunch, right? At least you got 1.5 hours gap. Okay, let's say it may be easier for you to think about the flower. This flower, if this flower is subject to the ultimate analysis, say you have the ultimate analysis, you are now looking at this flower through ultimate analysis. The flower appears to ultimate analysis or not? Huh? Yes? Petrola is in the flow of joy, you know. Ultimate analysis, whether it's joyful or not, I don't know. Okay, let me repeat it. Say this flower that I've been showing you, when you subject this flower to ultimate analysis, do you see this flower? Okay, so we're done with the second version of the explanation of the third set of the third set of the 4 recitations on the teaching of the Four Noble Truths are related to the ultimate domain. Okay, now we turn to the next page. Examination of Four Noble Truths, chapter 24, verse number 3, page number 120. Okay, if these things do not exist, the four fruits as well will not arise. Without the 4 fruits, there will be no buyers in the fruits, nor will they be enterers. Okay, related to the 4 fruits is related to gade, It starts from Paragade, not from the Gade Gade. It starts from Paragade, Parasangade, Bodhisoha, in the context of the personal liberation seekers. For the Bodhisattvas, we don't talk about these four fruits. They are similitude of the four fruits, but the four fruits are strictly in the context of the personal liberation seekers. Okay, but we have to know these things. When you know these things, particularly when you learn in more detail, then you will know how your mind progresses, how your mind removes the mental defilements, what kind of mental defilements are there. You can see the mental defilements as well as you are watching a movie. And then see, the subtle, gross, all these things you can see within your mind. So this is so important for us to have this knowledge. Okay. With these four fruits, we see that since there are those four fruits, they must be, the practitioners who are striving to attain these four fruits. You're getting it? Who are striving to attain these four fruits. So these four, because there are four fruits, four practitioners to strive to attain these four fruits. So these four are known as four enterers. Four enterers who are trying to enter into the fruits. Then there must be some who already attained the fruits. You're getting it? They're known as the abiders. Four enterers and four abiders. So these eight are known as the eight Sangha members. And Sangha members is not just eight. The classification wise, it is eight in one context, and there are like 20 Sangha members. There are so many ways of classification. One way of which has been classified into 28 Sangha members. Okay. So reading the text, it says, if these things do not exist, if these things, meaning Four Noble Truths, do not exist, and then the identification, abandonment, actualization, meditation, if these things do not exist, these Four Noble Truths, then the four fruits as well will not arise. Only by meditating on the Four Noble Truths that one can attain the four fruits. So the four fruits cannot be attained. If the four fruits are not there, without the four fruits, there will be no abiders in the fruits who attain the fruits. You cannot possess them. Nor will they be the enterers. What do you mean by enterers here? Hey, people who practitioners who strive to attain these fruits are known as enterers. What are the abiders? Who already attain these fruits. Very good. Okay. Number 4. If the 8 persons, these 8 Sangha members, if these 8 Sanghas do not exist, the Sangha will be non-existent. Then the Sangha will become non-existent. If the Noble Truths do not exist, there will be no true Dharma. The real Dharma, if somebody were to ask, look, these are the very standard texts, but and then you will know what's the real Dharma. We talk about, I'm following Buddhism, I practice Dharma. What do you mean by Dharma? So look, the real Dharma, understand, these come from these very sophisticated classical texts. So it says that if the Noble Truths, if the Four Noble Truths do not exist, there will be no true Dharma. You're getting it? Even if you think that you're practicing the Dharma, there's no Dharma without the Four Noble Truths. Why? The correlation is that within the Four Noble Truths, what is the truth number 3? Cessation. What is truth number 4? The path leads to say these two are the real dharmas. So if you don't have the Four Noble Truths, then these two will be missing. If these two are missing, then there's no Dharma. Real Dharma is the purification inside. Purification. Right? What is Dharma? Dharma is to purify you to attain Buddhahood. Yes? To purify you and attain Nirvana and Buddhahood. So this real Dharma. So the real Dharma is the purification. Purification is what? The state of cessation, the truth of cessation. And the path which leads you to the cessation. These two are the true Dharma. So therefore, in future, if somebody were to ask you, what is the real Dharma? You can say that the truth of cessation and truth of path leading to cessation. So we don't have the Dharma. We don't have the actual Dharma. We have the similitude of the Dharma. For example, like, say, we stay away from, say, 10 non-virtuous actions. 10 non-virtuous actions. So that makes us be freed or be purified of 10 non-virtuous actions. And so any step that you take, that is the Dharma. Step you take to feel the similitude of cessation of suffering. Suffering is a result of the negative karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, self-grasping ignorance. So when you stay away from the negative karmas, then you get some degree of cessation of suffering. You're getting it? So that is a true Dharma. And what means to attain that? There is a path leading to the cessation. So your study, your reflection, your practice to stay from 10 non-virtuous actions, these are all the paths leading to the state of cessation. So these are the true dharmas. If the noble truths do not exist, there will be no true dharma. Number 5, if there's no true dharma and sangha, how can there be a Buddha? So if the dharma is not there, if the Sangha is not there, the most refined version of the Sangha is the Buddha. Most refined version of the Sangha, highest level of Sangha is the Buddha. And this Buddha is attained only through Dharma practice. So if there's no Dharma, no Sangha, who can attain Buddhahood? So you cannot talk about Buddha. If there's no the Dharma, Sangha, and Buddha, then you are rejecting the triple gem. And you are supposed to be Buddhist. So this says the opposite. This is whose view? Whose view is that? Vaibhashika and Sautrantika, they are arguing, they are fighting against the Nagarjuna, saying that then you are supposed to be Buddhist. So you're supposed to be Buddhist and you are rejecting triple gem. You're rejecting Four Noble Truths. You are rejecting the Sangha members. You are rejecting the Dharma. You are rejecting the Buddha. Okay. Number 5, if there is no true Dharma and Sangha, how can there be a Buddha? If one conceives the idea of emptiness, the three jewels are contradicted, then you're contradicting the three jewels. Okay. And number 6, hence it contradicts everything. If you say that everything exists, everything is empty of objective existence, you are saying that nothing exists. If you say nothing exists, you contradict everything. 6, hence it contradicts everything. The tenability of fruits. Tenability of fruits meaning you do good, you do virtues, and the fruit, happiness as fruits will come. You do bad things, misery as fruit will come. So this cause and effect, efficacy will be disrupted. You have to reject this. Hence it contradicts everything, the tenability of the fruits, that's the cause and the respective fruits. You can't hold it as the legible. Dharma and non-dharma. What is dharma? Dharma means, okay, good things, good deeds that you do. Non-dharma, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, and so forth. All these bad things, non-dharma. So with non-dharma, misery is at the end. So this set of emotions are non-dharma. These are emotions, they are dharma. So why? So this concept of dharma and non-dharma will become totally chaotic if you don't accept things to exist objectively. And the conventional norms of the world. You also have to reject conventional norms. Conventional norms meaning, for example, if you drive in India, if you drive what? On the right, you will be put a penalty, right? So why penalty? Because you run wrong. How do you say wrong, right? Because it doesn't exist intrinsically. It doesn't so objectively. It doesn't exist, right? Why should you put in penalty? Because it doesn't exist. So you reject all the conventionalities of the world. Okay, up to this point is the position of the advocates of objective existence, like Vaibhashika and Sautrantika. Very good. Now, stanza 7 and down is Aranyarjuna's refutation. Thus far, till stanza 1 through to stanza 6, Aranyarjuna has been patiently listening to Vaibhashika and Sautrantika. Now, Aranyarjuna asked them, "Are you done?" They said, "Yes, we are done now." "You're happy now?" "Yes." "Now let me speak." Okay, now Aranyarjuna is speaking. We say that this understanding of yours meaning, who is that you? Vaibhashika and Sautrantika. So your understanding of emptiness, number 1. The purpose of emptiness, number 2. And the meaning of emptiness, number 3. All these 3 are incorrect, right? is incorrect. Thus, you perceive contradictions in us. It's not that I have contradiction, it's because you do not understand emptiness well. You think that I am the one who has a problem. It's your problem, it's not my problem. Right? Because you don't know these three things. What are three things? The understanding of yours emptiness is incorrect. The purpose, you don't know the purpose of the wisdom of emptiness. You don't know the meaning of emptiness. What are three things? Understanding of emptiness, the purpose of the wisdom of emptiness, and the meaning of emptiness. You don't know these three things. You don't know these three things, and then you still argue means it is your problem. It's not my problem. Okay, how? The first, understanding yours of emptiness, how you understand emptiness. Emptiness, how we should understand emptiness exactly is what Nagarjuna identified that in chapter 18, verse number 9. Check it. Chapter 18, verse number 9. Huh? Chapter 18, verse number 9. 116.
Not dependent upon.
Yes. Okay. So this is the real understanding of emptiness. Emptiness should be understood in the form of these 5 characteristics. Emptiness should be understood as the one with 5 attributes. And how you interpret the emptiness is like nothingness. This is wrong interpretation of what emptiness is. And real emptiness should have these 5 attributes. What are they? Number 1, not dependent upon another, meaning that the knowledge of which, you have to add this, the knowledge in bracket of emptiness is not dependent upon another, number 1. And number 2, emptiness is very peaceful, number 2. Meaning that experience of emptiness, the moment you experience the emptiness is extremely peaceful, number 2. Number 3, not elaborated by elaborations. In that experience, all the elaborations dissolve. They're not thought. The real experience is extremely direct experience without any thoughts, without distinction. So we say this is good, this is bad, this is nice, not nice, and so forth. All these distinctions are made in the experience of emptiness. All these distinctions dissolve. You getting it? So this is emptiness. Whereas emptiness, how the Vaibhashika and Sautrantika interpret emptiness is what? Nothing exists. You think nothing exists. These 5 do not make any sense. You cannot relate nothing exists, non-existent or nihilism with this 5. You cannot relate that within 5. The real emptiness, if you can relate this 5, then that's a real experience, otherwise not. Okay, so this is how the emptiness starts from the nihilism. So Vaibhashika Sautrantika, they interpret emptiness, Nagarjuna emptiness as nihilism. So saying that no, that experience is so profound, it's not nihilism. With nihilism, there's no profound experience. Whereas this experience, emptiness, there's a very profound experience there. These 5 attributes are there. Okay.
So you said that not without thought, not thought is the direct experience, and then without distinction.
So all these in the corners of direct experience, but they have the nuances there. Non-distinction meaning that, say, what I said is that this is nice, this is not nice, or whether it's little gloomy, the last day, the weather is so good. This distinction is there. In the experience of emptiness, all these distinctions dissolve. So these distinctions make our mind to go into fluctuation, ups and downs, happy, unhappiness, all these things. So this distinction dissolves in the experience of, for example, let's say, okay, is there a difference between these flowers?
Yes.
Huh? Louder.
Yes.
Okay. What's the difference? Red color. One is red, one is white. What are the distinctions? Huh?
One is on the right side, one is on the left side.
Okay, what else?
Size.
Size. What else? What is nice, what is not nice? You getting it? Okay. those people who like pink, right? Okay, but by the way, what is more likely? Who's more likely to like pink, the girls or the boys? Be very honest. No, I'm asking the girls. Just be very honest. Who's more likely to like the pink color? Raise hands. Girls or the boys? Be very honest. It may not be you. In fact, when I was little boy, when I was 5, my favorite color was pink. When I was 5, my favorite color was pink, and gradually, I came to discover that this is what they did. It's weird, right? So I tried to be boy, not to. Okay, Keeping this aside, so we see these distinctions at the end. Now imagine you subject this to ultimate analysis. Emptiness seen by ultimate analysis, conversion analysis. Ultimate analysis. In the eyes of ultimate analysis, do you see the white? You see the red? You see this distinction? Distinction dissolves. You're getting it? This meaning. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, now the next one is the purpose. The purpose of emptiness. The purpose of emptiness means purpose of wisdom of emptiness. The purpose of wisdom of emptiness. The purpose of wisdom of emptiness is to dissolve your afflictions, dissolve your fears, simply by thinking nihilism. Nothing exists. It will not help you to remove your anxiety. It will not help you to remove your afflictions. It will not help you to remove your fears. Whereas with experience of emptiness, your fears dissolve, which means that it clearly indicates that you did not really understand the purpose of the wisdom of emptiness. What's the last one? The meaning of emptiness. And emptiness is not nothingness. The emptiness is the middle way. How? Emptiness is the middle way. How? Anyone?
When you see emptiness, simultaneously you see objective existence.
Emptiness objective. Anyone? How is the emptiness is the middle way? Here's the girl over there. Good. Anyone else?
And emptiness is dependent, origination is
Same.
and one rejects nihilism and one rejects absolutism.
Good. Permisila.
Emptiness is equals to dependent origination. Dependent origination is equals to becoming. So it means emptiness is equal to.
That is complete. You're getting it? It proves that Pemba is the student of emptiness, wisdom of emptiness retreat into some lake. Right? Others are half-half. Right? This is a complete answer. Emptiness equals dependent origination. Dependent origination equals the emptiness, middle way. Therefore, emptiness equals the middle way. Amazing. You're getting it? Anybody who is extremely smart, learn it. When they hear this, they'll be so happy. You're getting it? So this is why whatever we learn, you try to get it very complete, not just half-half. Okay. So the meaning of emptiness is what? Meaning of emptiness is the middle way. It's not nihilism. You see you meaning who you. Vaibhashika and Sautranta, two of you think that my understanding of emptiness is nihilism. It is not. It is the middle way. How middle way? Because emptiness equals the dependent origination. Dependent origination equals the middle way. Therefore, emptiness equals the middle way. It is not nihilism. You getting it? Okay. So where do you find this? It is found on chapter 24, verse number 18. So it's the same chapter, verse number 18. Where do you find it? Verse number 18. Whatever is dependent erased. Okay. Anybody who can read this? Anybody who can read this? Deshanla, you like to read? Read it for us. Deshan.
That being the dependent extension, it is a little bit.
Perfect. You're getting it? This is the answer given by Nagarjuna, saying that emptiness is not nothingness, it is not nihilism, it is the middle way. So the meaning of emptiness is not nihilism, it is the dependent origination. Dependent origin is middle way, and dependent origin equals middle way, therefore emptiness is middle way. So emptiness doesn't mean nothingness, it is the dependent origination. Good. Okay. We're done. And if the meaning of emptiness is correct, thus you perceive contradiction in us. Verse number 8. The Buddha's teaching of the Dharma is based on two truths. The truth of the form is empty. Yes.
In us, is that Madhyamaka? In us.
Oh, us is Madhyamaka. Yes, it is Nagarjuna, who is the pioneer of Madhyamaka philosophy, and of course the not really pioneer as such, is that the main commentator of Madhyamaka philosophy. Yes. Okay. Number 8, the Buddha's teaching of the Dharma is based on two truths, which is in Heart Sutra, which the say this sutra, we said form is empty. This is what? Conventional truth, ultimate truth. Form is empty. Huh? Form is empty. Ultimate truth. Emptiness is form. Conventional truth. Okay. So Buddha's teachings of Dharma is entirely based on these two truths. The ultimate truth, conventional truth. To the worldly convention. To the worldly convention meaning conventional truth. And the ultimate truth. Okay, to the worldly convention, conventional truth as seen by the conventional analysis. And to the ultimate truth as seen by the ultimate analysis. Number 9. Those who do not understand the distinction drawn between these two truths do not understand the Buddha's teachings of the profound suchness. So, the Buddha's teachings based on these two truths. Conventional truth is the world exists. Okay, day 1, you remember? When we explain emptiness, we began with 2 questions. What are 2 questions? Do things exist? What is the answer? Yes. If you say no, what's the problem? You fall into nihilism. What's the second question? Do things exist objectively? What's the answer? No. If you say yes, what's the problem? Absolutism, extreme of absolutism. So, therefore, that to understand emptiness, you have to know that everything exists. It's not nihilism. Everything exists, yet nothing exists objectively. So, we can see that these two, the existence and objective existence, these two are not synonymous. Whereas for the lower schools, they go into this problem because they see these two as synonymous. Okay. Those who do not understand the distinction drawn between these two truths, Vaibhashika are trying to, when they cannot make this distinction conventionally, everything exists. Ultimately, nothing exists. When they cannot make this distinction, two truths, then they do not understand the Buddha's teaching of the profound suchness. There's no way by which you can understand the Buddha's teachings. Number 10. Without dependence upon the convention, the meaning of the ultimate cannot be expressed. So finally, our job is to understand the emptiness, ultimate truth. To understand ultimate truth, we need to know the, say, dependent origination. Convention, we know the convention. Say, for example, let's say that, okay, nothing exists objectively. How do you know that? Okay, things can be seen by your convention analysis. Convention analysis, the convention. It's conventional truth. So if you know all these things, then this conventional analysis, when we subject to ultimate analysis, when we change it to ultimate analysis, you go closer, then you see that object does not exist. To know all these things, we have to know the procedure. And the procedure of all is all about conventional truth. So without understanding convention, the meaning of the ultimate cannot be expressed. Without understanding the meaning of ultimate, liberation is not achieved. Okay, what is Dharma? Dharma, finally, it is to liberate you from all your miseries, all your fears, yes? So, if you don't understand the emptiness, ultimate reality, you cannot be liberated. This is very clearly indicated. So from this, we should become very confident that when you meet with any person where emptiness is not at all studied, practiced, they think of Dharma as something else, then something is incomplete. Because what Nagarjuna said, without understanding the meaning for ultimate liberation is not achieved. So without liberation, what's the point? Then it doesn't become Dharma. You're getting it? Dharma is to liberate you, and if it doesn't liberate you, it's just not Dharma. So therefore, from this, we should really get a conviction. You don't have to wait for somebody else to tell you, okay, this is Dharma, you have to practice this. No, just read these greatly enlightened beings' compositions. From this, you should get a conviction that, okay, now, anybody who teaches emptiness, this is the Dharma. Where emptiness is not at all considered important, this is not my place. You're getting it? This is what we have to keep in mind. Number 11. Through misperception of emptiness, a person of little intelligence is ruined. So, same with emptiness. Why Bhashka South trying to why they have the problem? Because that the intelligence is less. They could not understand the emptiness of objective existence. Through misperception of emptiness, a person of little intelligence is ruined because they fall into nihilism or they fall into absolutism. Like a snake incorrectly seized or like a spell incorrectly cast. The snake, for example, snake charmers, they capture the snake very easily. And we also think that we can capture a snake very easily. You capture it, and the snake will bite you, right? So therefore, in the pretext of going into emptiness, you can fall into problems if you don't understand emptiness properly. Okay, and like a spell incorrectly cast, spell meaning magical spell. It is said that if you're not really good in magical, they perform magical spell, and usually what is magical spell? Black magic, what is that? To harm somebody else. If you're not really good at it, if you're just partially cooked food, right, half cooked food, then you try to cast a spell there, it can bounce back on you and you can be destroyed. Okay, so if you try to learn emptiness, and if you interpret emptiness as nothingness, then it can harm you rather than be of any help. 12. For the reason that he knows, he, referring to Buddha, for the reason that the Buddha knows this teaching on emptiness to be difficult to fathom to the depths but the less intelligent, the Buddha's mind turned away from giving teachings. So you remember that Buddha, after becoming enlightened, he remained silent for how many days? 49 days he remained silent, he did not give teachings. And finally, when Indra and Brahma, the kings of the god and goddesses, when they descended to make request to the Buddha, please don't remain silent, turn the wheel of Dharma. So what did the Buddha say? Profound, peaceful, elaboration, free and clear light, and non-compensate. Such a nectar-like Dharma is what I've discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. Meaning that there's nobody who can understand emptiness around this place. So better, instead of wasting my time, I'd rather go into the woods, in the forest, to do my personal practice. This is what the Buddha said. Then Indra and Brahma, they made more requests to the Buddha, made prostrations, more requests to the Buddha. Finally, Buddha headed towards Varanasi, Sarnath, and then turned the wheel of Dharma, started to give teachings. The first teaching was given, then second teaching in Rajgir, third teaching in the Vaishali. Okay. So why the Buddha remained silent is because 14, 12. For the reason that he, the Buddha, knows this teaching on emptiness to be difficult to fathom, which cannot be possibly understood by Bhashka and Sautrantika, to the depths by the less intelligent, the Buddhas might turn away from giving teachings. 13. But for us, some of you may think that, oh, I'm not intelligent, so this is exactly what is said, we can understand it, so it's not for me. Don't think like this. I say, in the first step is that, okay, I will be as normal as possible, meaning that whoever you are, remain who you are. Don't say, oh, now I study emptiness, it's empty of objectives, it's nothing. you just behave normally as normal. So meanwhile, study more, reflect more, and even to meet with these teachings is so auspicious. Say you meet these teachings from the point of view of Nagarjuna, not from the point of view of Vaibhashika and Sautrantika, not from the point of view of some other traditions. Some other traditions, they will tell you emptiness, Nagarjuna said like this, he is idealistic, he is nihilist. And then you get such a bad imprint. Whereas here, we are respecting the Nagarjuna. We are, the word, in a way like worshipping. We see the Nagarjuna as the Buddha. And then what he said is seen as the legacy, as a panacea to heal our problems. So with this, our outlook on emptiness is going to be very different. It will be so much of reverence. With the reverence, the danger for us to fall in nihilism is very less. Whereas if somebody comes and says that, oh, everything's empty, you don't have to worry about bad things, good things, everything's empty. And although with so much of, say, the regard for the wisdom of emptiness, but if this interpretation, then you can be very badly influenced. You're getting it? So we should be very careful that there's so much reverence given to this teaching, and meaning that emptiness does not mean nothingness. Emptiness means dependent origination, which means a middle way. Therefore, it is the middle way. It is not nihilism. You think of the 3 points, you're getting it? Then even though you may feel that you're not so intelligent, but even the intelligence also dependent originated. By learning, by taking part in these studies, your intelligence is constantly being activated. You're getting it? And particularly, not just listening to teachings very passively, you take part in this. Take part in a group discussion, so forth. Just take part in this, and then it's not necessary you have to speak every day, every time. But when somebody asks questions or somebody responds to the question, you also try to respond mentally and see if they tally, not tally. In the process, your intelligence is being activated, and then you become intelligent. And if you don't believe in this, just continue with the studies. And then, of course, we have the brochures there. For Nalanda, of course, still we have a very short window of enrollment. And you study these, then later on, after about 1 year, 2 years, when you meet with the new students of the Nalanda course, when you listen to them, you see that you know much more than what they know, right? What they know, then you realize that even the intelligence can be activated, can be improved. Are you good? 13. These refutations are not relevant to the advocates of emptiness. Okay, now all the refutation that Vaibhashika Sautrantika projected on Nagarjuna, this is not legitimate refutations. These are not relevant to the advocates of emptiness. Your denigration of emptiness do not hold true for me. For me meaning Madhyamaka, Nagarjuna and the followers. Okay, this is a great summary. 14. For him or for her, to whom emptiness is tenable, everything becomes tenable. Meaning, somebody who understands emptiness so well, then everything, cause effect, everything is so easily. You can see the smooth flow of cause and effect relationship, the tenability of cause and effect, and so forth. For him or her, to whom emptiness is tenable meaning it makes sense, everything makes sense. For him or her, to whom emptiness doesn't make sense, nothing makes sense. 15. Okay, now Nagarjuna is giving the example, saying that when you force upon us all of your errors, then actually it's your error, your failure to understand emptiness, your failure to see the purpose of emptiness, your failure to see your failure to see what emptiness is, the purpose of emptiness, and very good, right? So this is the problem. When it's unilateral teaching, no interaction, then your mind becomes like It's frozen. It becomes frozen. It doesn't, right? So when I say, hey, and still you are like this, which means your mind is not working. You're getting it? This is a problem. Where interactive session is not there, you do not grow. You do not benefit. This is a problem. You see that? You're getting it? I spoke for some time without asking questions, and your mind slowly shut down. I ask, hey, and then you can start, what is hey? What is hey? And then you say emptiness. Okay. So all these three problems which Vaibhashists are trying to get, they have, it is their problem, but they freezed or they blame these to be my problem, Arjana's problem of the number 15. When you force upon us, when you what? When you forced, or what is it? Anything? Project, or in other words, put on. When you put on these errors that you have on me, 15, when you forced upon us, all of your errors, you are like a man who has mounted his horse and has forgotten that very horse. Right? You actually riding the horse and you are saying that you have stolen my horse. Actually, you are riding the horse. Yeah. 16. If you perceive the existence of all things, okay, now look, Nagarjuna is telling them how you made the mistake and you are the problem. How you fail to understand emptiness. Now Nagarjuna is explaining one by one. Okay. 16. If you perceive the existence of all things in terms of their self-nature, objective existence, they all mean the same. Self-nature, objective existence, inherent existence, intrinsic existence, they all mean the same. If you perceive the existence of all things in terms of their self-nature, if you see everything as objectively real, objective existent, the existence of things you will have to view as absent of causes and conditions. If things are objectively real, they should be independently real. If they're independently real, they should not be dependent. If they are not dependent, they should not depend on the causes and conditions. So cause and effect will become irrelevant to you. If the cause and effect is irrelevant, then what's the problem? Four noble truths cannot be explained. You're getting it? He said, Nagarjuna, if you say that nothing exists objectively, then ceasing and arising cannot be existent. If these two do not exist, then Four noble truths cannot be existent. You're getting it? Now Arnavaj is saying that if things exist objectively, then things should exist independently. If they exist independently, they cannot be dependent. If they're not dependent, they should not be dependent on causes and conditions. If they're not dependent on causes and conditions, then cause and effect is not possible. If the cause and effect is not there, you cannot account for Four noble truths. Okay. You will have to view as absent of causes and conditions. 17. Effects and causes. Results and causes. Agent and action. For example, let's say that agent and action. Say you are the benefactor and person A is the beneficiary. So you give, as a person is suffering terribly, and then you give some assistance. You give some, say, the food. So person A is the beneficiary and you are the benefactor, you are the agent. And the person A is the beneficiary. And there's the act of benefiting. You getting it? There are three things that are like a triangle. You as the benefactor, the person A is the beneficiary, and the act of benefiting. Without you as the benefactor, person A cannot be the beneficiary because he will not receive any benefit. And if there is no benefactor and beneficiary, act of benefiting makes no sense. You're getting it? Likewise, even if the benefactor is there, if the beneficiary is not there, nobody will receive your benefit, then the benefactor is not benefactor because he cannot benefit anybody. Act of benefiting will not be there. So without act of benefiting, the benefactor doesn't make any sense. So now, even if there's somebody there to receive your benefit, and the benefactor is there, but if the act of benefiting is not happening, again, the benefactor is not a benefactor, beneficiary is not beneficiary. For example, saying in some cases where there's war happening, right, or what is that, juntas, those the terrorists, they control the whole territory, and then what is that, Red Cross, International Amnesty, they want to send the aids to the people there who are trapped in the. So these people, they need help. So they are to be the beneficiaries. And the Red Cross and International Amnesty and so forth, they should be the benefactor. But the actual benefit is not happening because the terrorists, they block the road. Deliberately, they block the road. That the benefit is not happening. You're getting it? So does it happen? It happens in many places. UNO wants to send the aids, but the terrorists and these the dictators, they block the road. They don't allow the UNO to get in. The aids to get in. They don't allow. So therefore, people there are people who need the help. And there are people who are ready to help. So the beneficiary there, but then the act of benefiting is not happening. When that's not happening, then the benefactor is not benefactor, beneficiary is not benefit. In other words, these three are mutually dependent. You're getting it? Mutually dependent. Because they're mutually dependent, none of these three is independent. So if things are independent, then benefactor, beneficiary, act of benefiting, agent, and the actions will become meaningless. Okay, 17. Effects and causes, the agent and action, and conditions, and arising and ceasing will make no sense. Arising and ceasing is what? Cause and effect will not sense. And effects will be rendered impossible. You cannot account for all these if you accept things to be objectively real. 18. Whatever is dependent in reason. Okay, now this is extremely important. I remember that His Holiness the Dalai Lama oftentimes advised people to memorize this verse and recite this on a daily basis to leave imprint, to implant the imprint on the wisdom of emptiness. It says, whatever is dependent in reason or dependent originated, that is explained to be emptiness. That being dependently designated, this is the middle way, which we said earlier. And then the next, these two verses together. In Tibetan, it is Tenji Devar Chumbakan, Tini Tongpa Nidu She, Tini Tene Tapate, Tini Ume Lamino. The Tibetan version, the next verse says, Kanji Tenju Mayimbe, Chogoiba Mayino, Tiji Tongpa Mayimbe, Chogoiba Mayino. This is the Tibetan version. So 19. Since there is no phenomenon that is not dependent originated, therefore there is no phenomenon that is not empty of objective existence. Okay. Okay, we'll stop here. Verse number 19. Teata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgate Bodhisvaha Tyata Om Gati Gati Paragate Bodhisvaha Tyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgate Bodhisvaha Okay, if there's one or two questions, feel free to bring this up. Bring your questions, ask me if you have questions, one or two. Or questions from the group discussion. From the group discussion. Ordinarily, this is your group discussion question? Group discussion question. Is it? Yes.
My question is related to the essential of understanding, essential to understanding emptiness, related to the essential, and essential to understanding the emptiness through intrinsically negating the object being given from the spark.
Yes.
So when I was thinking about the emptiness, the word essential, so when I'm thinking about the atom was removed from the flower, sometimes I feel like there is a kind of mental imaginary of flower or something achieved. Though that is purely subjective, it doesn't exist from objective, but there is some kind of notion like mental imaginary, which we technically call the generative image.
Okay, let me try to paraphrase what the Pemberton is saying. And if I got you wrong, just stop me. Okay, what Pemberton is saying is that the third essential, what's the third essential? Essence of understanding. Wonderful. Essence of understanding the emptiness of the objects being intrinsically different from its parts. Very good. Okay, so here what Pemberton is saying is that let's say that, okay, the flower, let's say the flower, you subject flower to ultimate analysis, and then you end up seeing the atoms. Okay, atoms are not intrinsically the flower. These are not intrinsically flower, meaning that objectively, these atoms are not to be identified as flower. Good. Second essential done. Third essential. Although the atoms are not there, flower is something different. Remove the atoms. Although from the object there's no flower there, but some image of the flower comes to my mind. Although there's not objective, subjective, still there's some image coming. So that is the that is the one which it makes me feel difficult to understand the third essential. Is what I'm saying? Okay, this is a good question. So this is an indication that Pemberton is thinking. When you think, these different ideas can come, and these must be resolved. You're getting it? Don't just live in intellectual is very important. Intellectual, then try to think. Actually meditate on this, reflect on this. Then the different, say the unease, or say your mind may not flow so fluidly. You may get stuck there. So these must be resolved. Okay. So just imagine that mental image of the flower comes. It comes to where? It comes to your mind, yes? The mind to which the mental image of the flower comes is that conventional analysis, ultimate analysis. Huh? The image of the flower that comes to your mind, that mind where the image of the flower comes, that mind is that ultimate analysis, conventional analysis. Raise hand who will say conventional analysis. Good. Patient paper, your problem is that you have very quickly switched from the ultimate analysis to the conventional analysis. That's the problem. So when you into the emptiness can never be seen by the conventional analysis. You're getting it? You switch to the conventional analysis and then you face this problem. So whereas here, what we need to do is that we need to continue to maintain this ultimate analysis. You're getting it? You should not swap. If you swap, instantly the emptiness will disappear. Good. Any more questions from the group discussion? Group discussion question? Group discussion question? No group discussion question. That's strange.
Question.
Group discussion? Group discussion question? Or your personal question imposed as?
Personal question, but we did discuss it in the group.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, the last couple of days we've been discussing mostly about, objective existence. I mean, the emptiness of objective existence. And the emptiness of objective existence, basically, once you realize the emptiness of objective existence, you realize that it's all subjective, right? And there were several examples given from left side. And
What's the question? What's the question?
okay. So, objective existence means existing from the side of the object, and subjective means existing from the side.
That's the subject, right?
Yeah. So, but if the mind does not exist truly, then how do you account for subjectivity?
Oh, mind does not exist truly, or mind exists? Mind does not exist. What's the question?
No, if the mind does not,
No, I understand it.
nothing exists truly,
The mind exists.
the mind does not exist truly.
Mind exists or not?
Mind exists.
Mind exists. So what's the problem?
But if the mind doesn't exist truly,
That's not an issue. You know, say when you go to the shop, you say that give me I want what is that? Whole grain bread. And the shopkeeper give you this. Is it objective existent or subjective existent? Will you ask this? You will not ask this. You're getting it? So when you talk about the functionalities, you don't talk about objective or subjective. You don't ask this. So the mind exists. So this is where you're getting it. So where the Roshni asked this question is the problem lies in the first question. What's the first question? Do things exist? You know, although she is saying objective, in her mind it is if the mind doesn't exist. This is the question. You're getting it? Equating mind, existence of the mind and the objective existence of the mind. These two are equated. This is a problem. Okay, anyone from the group discussion? Group discussion. Group discussion, yes?
Visualize was more for my clarification that I wanted from
My or the group?
my doubt
Okay, good.
pertaining to what you said related to the you mentioned that there could be a contradiction in cause and effect pertaining to the third, particularly the third truth cessation of
Oh, yes.
suffering.
Ah,
With the analogy given with the flower of three moments, a future moment, flower which in bit of effect for the present.
yes. Ah,
And regarding that, the present moment can be the effect past flower.
yes.
Those, what is the contradiction regarding the third cessation, true cessation?
Truth of cessation, third noble truth, and the truth of parallel cessation. So these two are treated as cause and effect. You practice the truth of the parallel cessation, you will attain the truth of cessation, cause and effect. And so what we said is that these two are not cause and effect. You're getting it? These two are not cause and effect. Are these two cause and effect? In the loose sense, yes, but technically, no. How these two are not cause and effect in one? Raise hands. How these two are not cause and effect? Young Bella, you will say something? Truth of the cessation is a permanent phenomenon. Cause and effect is applicable only to the impermanent phenomena. So therefore, it is not cause and effect. But the truth of cessation come to existence by the reason of the truth of the path leading to cessation. Truth of the path leading to cessation is not the cause of the truth of cessation, but because of the reason of the existence of the truth of the path leading to cessation, truth of cessation given existence. Okay.
So we understand that things exist subjectively. If, say, there's no subject, then does something exist?
Okay, this is a good question. In fact, do you remember this question that I asked you? Say what is this? Group A says water. Group B, through election micro says no water. Who's correct? You said both are correct. So I said that what is this water is dependent on how you see your subject. What you see that no water is also because of ultimate analysis. Water because conventional analysis. If you remove the two minds and ask what is there, this is my question. Still the answer is not given. And somebody say, and you said something is there, right?
Yes.
During that time. It says something is there. What is that something? Is that something chocolate or not? Not chocolate. So non-chocolate. Non-chocolate is conventional to the ultimate truth. Conventional truth, non-chocolate. So non-chocolate should be seen by conventional analysis. You remove the conventional analysis, even non-chocolate does not make any sense. So what is this now? Okay. So this is, for the time being, don't go too much into this part. It can give you a lot of mental disturbance. So the best thing is study more systematically, go slow. You're getting it? And later on, if I say something, it can easily make the people go into nihilism. You're getting it? And gradually, you get, as you go closer to this real understanding, then the experience of awe, the feeling of awe will be felt. Yes.
Confirm that from the first recitation on the form of the truth, the third one related to the result
Third one or third set.
set, like result pertaining to the form of the truth. So there, while explaining about the conventional understanding, so we said the 5 parts. That being got very clear that part of accumulation, preparation, part of seeing, and part of meditation is the conventional. Part of no more is active.
No. So all 5 in the context of the conventional domain, when you explain this in the conventional domain, forget about the ultimate. In the conventional domain, saying although the truth of suffering is to be identified at the time of the first 4 parts, when you reach the part of normal learning, there's nothing to be identified because you've identified everything. This is not from the ultimate point of view. It's from the conventional point of view. You're getting it? Okay. Do you have to learn ABCD now? Hey, do you have to learn ABCD now? Now no more learning of ABCD. You're getting it? Because why? I've learned ABCD already. So there's nothing to be left, nothing to learn as ABCD now. So this connection to the ultimate truth. Hey, now at the moment you don't have to learn ABCD. You're getting it? So now you are no more learning stage of the ABCD. So this is ultimate truth, the conventional truth. Yes, in the conventional level.
So
Same.
Krishna. So when we say ultimate understanding, so not to be existing objectively, that's it.
So the next part is, so thus far is all about in the domain of conventional, in the conventional sense. Now in the ultimate sense, nothing exists. Ninjala, the last question.
This is from discussion.
Yes.
So subjectivity as opposed to substantiality.
Yes.
We have to have an object.
Yes.
So there was like discussion about authority. For an example, a principal gives an order and they follow it.
Yes.
There is no substance, and yet the people follow it.
That's amazing.
It is all good.
Okay, well, the Ninjala is not ready to take the credit. It's the group. Okay, so the principal gives the order, and the students and the staff, they follow. So there's authority there. And there's no substance in the order given. There's no substance there. And yet it is followed. So what's the question?
Maybe substantiality.
A substantial as opposed to imputation, right? It may be imputed then. It may not be substance.
So is it from like subjectivity as to opposed to substantiality?
Yes, but here this is in other words, things should be either substantial or imputation, or subjective, as opposed to the substantial. So one of these two things. For example, say somebody's here, is you either male or non-male. If you're not, if you are male, then you are not non-male, right? So likewise, so whereas if you are not male, then you are not male, right? So the point is that the substantial and subjective. So things should be either one of these two things. One of these two things. So the authority that we're talking about, it may be subjective, not the substantial.
Thank you.
You have a question? The lady there? Yes.
Question.
Yes.
It came up in the discussion room yesterday. Yes, related to seeing the reality as objective. In that context, you mentioned a wonderful story about a magician. And I really love the story, and I would like to tell it further to other people as an example. And where can we find it?
The story.
Yeah, can we find it somewhere?
The story, in fact, it was shared. It was this was shared to me by my teacher, Venerable Lamrim Barubache. Then, of course, when I was very young, I must be in my 20s. He shared the story, and he was extremely inspiring. Whatever questions, although I was far away from the time to study emptiness, when I asked him questions emptiness, he would not, he would not be reluctant. He would be so happy to, say they inspire me, share about emptiness, then how we believe in the perception is so real. Then the story was shared. This is in the story. And so later on, I did hear that this is what was being a common story, but I don't know where it is coming from. Yes.
Yesterday we saw that subjectivity, conditionality, independently, receptivity, all these are synonymous.
Yes.
But I don't know why I feel that when you see things conventionally, then you see it objectively, then you see it as deceptive. So these have to be under one group. So why are we doing this sort of a grouping?
When we see things conventional, we see things objective. No. Conventional, when we see things
We are able to see the flower,
yes.
and then we see the flower objectively.
Yes.
So that is deceptive.
Yes.
So these have to be synonymous.
Which one? Objective,
Yeah,
deceptive. Okay, I understand what you're saying.
grouping.
Again, okay. So don't change the grouping. Right? When you don't change the grouping, your thinking is amazing. I can see where you're coming from. Which means you are thinking actually. You find some problem with this grouping which I give you. It's because you're thinking, and how you think and grouping, they do not tally. Okay, so you're thinking is very good. This is where we need to go through nuanced studies, systematic studies. Let's say, okay, a quick, say, 1 week has 8 days. Correct? Not correct? Not correct. Not correct. So your mind, I said, okay, so a person A says that 1 week has 8 days. This is deceptive. You're getting it? And your mind, he said this. He said that 1 week has 8 days. This is deceptive. So your mind sees that somebody is saying 1 week has 8 days. So that mind is deceptive, not deceptive. Your mind is not deceptive. His mind thinking that 1 week has 8 days is deceptive. And the message is also deceptive. But your mind seeing this deceptive is not deceptive. You're getting it? So object being deceptive and how you see deceptive, these are different. Object is deceptive, but the mind which sees this is not deceptive. You're getting it? Flower is deceptive. Flower is deceptive, right? Flower deceptive, and the flower exists. How it is deceptive is that it is perceived in one way, and it exists in another way. It exists as empty of true existence, but it's perceived as truly existent. You're getting it? So we say that the flower is conventional truth. It is not ultimate truth. It is subjective. It is not objective. But your mind sees as objective. You don't mix the two things. The object is subjective, but your mind sees the object as objective. Right? Object is subjective, but your mind sees this as objective. You're getting it? So what the object is and how your mind sees that, don't mix the two things. You're getting it? So conventionally, I see this objective. You're getting it? Objective, and my mind is deceptive. Right? Same. Objective and deceptive should be actually synonymous from your point of view. Right? So the object is not objective. The flower is not objective. Yes, no. Flower is not objective. Flower is subjective. You're getting it? Your mind sees this as objective. Flower is conventional or ultimate? It's conventional. It's not ultimate. It is deceptive or non-deceptive? It is deceptive. It is deceptive. It is conventional. It is not objective. It is subjective. These three are synonymous. But your mind sees this as objective. So what you're doing is you are mixing up two things. Your mind sees objective, and this is the conventional. So conventional and the objective should be same. So you're mixing up the reality of this object and how you perceive this. These two are being mixed. Good. Okay, we'll stop here. So we already said the prayers, right? Okay, 3 prostrations.